Right, a very good morning to every one of you. I hope you are doing good and wherever you are hearing this from. Today is day 2 of Iclad 2021 and we are in this date 17 November 2021. I'm Mark Jonathan from ILSAS, Tenaga Nasional Berhad. He's going to moderate this section with you all for the next 1 hour, and today's topic is, we call it as a leader's purpose reshaped in the new norm. A leader's purpose reshaped in a new norm. It is such a concerning topic where leaders are looking forward. I'm sure there's a lot of leaders down here today, all right, looking forward to hear this section. You may be all around the organization, all right, different set of sectors, all right. I'm sure this section will be very relevant to you. So please bear with us in the next 1 hour with me, Mark, and my fellow team, all right. So let's move on. All right, today's topic, I recall it back, leader's purpose reshaped in the new norm. Okay, and today to share this topic is with me, Encik Shairan. All right, Encik Shairan from Shell. He's the managing director. Let me get his profile correctly here. All right, he's the managing director of Shell Malaysia Trading Sdn Bhd, and he also attached with Shell Timor Sdn Bhd. He has a strong background with Shell for the past 20 years. All right, you can see him now, right now, he's appearing in the screen. All right, such a fantastic individual. I've seen him last week. All right, we did a rehearsal, we had a few sections with him. All right, for the past 20 years with Shell, he has went through a lot of ups and downs. All right, but the success story is marvelous. All right, with Shell, I'm sure Shell also is gifted to have him along as a staff with Shell, and today he is with us. He is with us to share a little bit of the insight of the future. All right, insight of the future. How Shell is going to work with the future's needs. All right, things are changing. Things are changing gradually. A lot of expectation is coming up, especially when this term called new norm. All right, new norm. We are moving into 2022. A lot of expectation is in line, but now let us focus how Shell is contributing to this expectation. All right, so yes, we have a point here. You can ask your questions, all right, friends. You can ask your question by posting it in the Pigeonhole. I think it should be somewhere on my right hand side, all right, Pigeonhole platform, just on the right hand side of your screen, right? Okay, so apart from that, he also going to share with us how Shell works towards people oriented. All right, how they are taking care about their people and how they are providing to the people who are enjoying their services as well. So without further ado, let me invite Encik Shairan, all right, with us, okay, to share his point. All right, so we have a short clip for you. Let us enjoy that clip for the next 15 minutes. All right, thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. A really warm welcome to all of you for graciously being with us this Wednesday afternoon. Let me first start by saying how excited I am to be here today with all of you, albeit virtually, at today's annual TNB ILSAS International Conference on Learning and Development event as your guest. I'm truly honored for this invitation to share some thoughts around the theme of towards energy transition, harmonizing with the new norm. When the team first informed me of this event and how it would look like, I tell you, you guys have done amazingly. Look at how the set looks, truly matching to the theme of harmonizing with the new norm. The new norm is such a common word that we use today post-pandemic. And really what it means to me is a hard reset to reflect on how we have done things before and how we can do better in the future. That is the new norm. Like many of you, I also had to go through these very challenging times, both personally and at work. What this pandemic had interestingly given me is an insight into the future, perhaps 20 years into the future. A future which may be very different We may not have as many cars on the road. The needs of my 1 million customers who my team serve daily will be completely different. A future that is net zero by 2050. At Shell, our purpose is to power progress together with more and cleaner energy solutions. Powering progress means powering lives and livelihoods through our product and activities, and by supporting an inclusive society. It also means respecting nature by protecting the environment, by reducing waste, and making positive contribution to biodiversity. Part of the Powering Progress purpose is also to accelerate the transition to net zero emission. In step with society, that's you and me. In October 2021, we in Shell set ourselves a target to reduce absolute emission by 50% by the year 2030, compared to a baseline of 2016 level. This is also in line with our government's ambition towards Malaysia achieving carbon neutrality as early as 2050. We are transforming businesses. We are transforming our business to meet our own net zero emission targets by providing more low carbon energy, such as charging for electric vehicles and electricity that is generated by solar and wind power. We are also working with our customers as they make changes too, including in sectors that are proving really difficult to decarbonize, such as aviation, shipping, road freight, and the industry. Becoming a net zero emission energy business means that we are reducing emission from our operations and from the fuels and other energy products that we sell to our customers. What this all means is that we don't need to wait until we know the answers. We must act now. We must take the first action even if we haven't figured it out in entirety. We must do what we can with the technology that we have. Learn, develop, and go forward. It's like building a plane while you are flying it. Very uncomfortable, but it's the right thing for all of us to do. Bringing it closer to home here in Malaysia, where Shell has been in operations for more than 129 years. In line with the global ambitions that we have introduced and continue to provide cleaner, innovative solutions such as powering our own Shell station with solar energy, mashallah, from the sun, and charging facilities with Shell Recharge. We have fitted more than 180 of our Shell stations with more than 19,000 solar panels. It's an amazing number, 19,000 solar panels, and progressing this towards 300 stations. We currently have 7 Shell Recharge stations located beyond the forecourt, with 1 Shell Recharge station at Shell Main Hotel, our sneak peek into the station of the future. This station of the future, as we call it, is Malaysia's first gold standard GBI certified petrol station. This station is actually integrated with a multifaceted approach of combining both renewable energy and energy efficient innovations that reflect the GBI gold standard requirements. The solar photovoltaic PV rooftop system at the station is able to generate almost 90,000 kilowatt hour of electricity per year. Do you know that enough to power an average of 382 houses per month? That is huge! Apart from being powered by solar, this station has sustainable features such as food waste composting machine that convert food waste into fertilizer, energy efficient air conditioners and chillers, recycling facilities, and even a smart LED lighting system at the forecourt. So far, we have 6 GBI certified stations, including this Shell Main Hotel, while we look towards another 35 sites to be GBI certified between now and 2023. I am so proud of my team. Terima kasih. You guys have worked really hard to deliver these solutions, early steps toward energy transition for us in Malaysia. I believe you will be able to see some of these amazing solutions in the 3D version of our Shell station on this web platform. Thank you to TNB team who has curated it purposely for you. I look forward to seeing it myself, so please after this take some time to have a look. This new norm for us at Shell is about accelerating efficiencies whenever possible. It is important to note that none of this would have been possible without the country's greatest asset, its people, seperti anda semua. Like the abang technicians who tirelessly go door to door, hujan atau panas, managing our power efficiencies. Or the kakak customer operations who manages distress call when there are power outages. Saya sendiri pun pernah alami. This is something that is possible only with you guys. Tahniah dan terima kasih daripada saya sebagai warga Malaysia. This is also made possible with my own retailers, my business partners who continue to support this transition that we are in together. They too have suffered major losses due to the pandemic, but yet all of them still strive together to support powering progress. Talking about this pandemic, there were many positives that came out amidst this chaos. Dalam setiap kesusahan, Tuhan janjikan kepada kita kebaikan. Take Ramadan for example. Semasa bulan puasa, biasanya kita really looking forward to visit Bazar Ramadan untuk mencari juadah, tepung pelita, murtabak. Unfortunately, the makcik and pakcik were not able to set up shop during the lockdown. Betul kan? By the grace of God, Alhamdulillah, because we were an essential service and our stations were allowed to open, many of our retailers were willing to open up their stores to allow for these entrepreneurs to sell their juadah Ramadan at Shell station for no additional fees. Thank you for thinking about other people. I thought to myself that this was fantastic and saw the different food being sold throughout our country, helping out one another with the hope for a better Hari Raya for the SMEs who were struggling. In fact, saya jumpa seorang kakak, dia menceritakan dengan perniagaan kecil di Shell station itulah dia dapat juga membeli pakaian baru untuk anak-anak beliau walaupun dalam masa pandemik. The learnings that we got from managing the pandemic open up our eyes, and we actually extended this up to the various initiatives like Malaysia Dreams, where we not only included essential groceries to be made available at Shell at actually very competitive prices, but also bringing together local SMEs and a chance to a Shell private label contracts to enable them to supply their products at Shell network nationwide. Kami sedar yang kami adalah sebahagian daripada masyarakat. Therefore, we partnered with local NGOs, such as to repurpose clothing with Cloth Care, setting up food boxes with Volunteers Unite at our retail station so that those who are affected by the pandemic tidaklah terasa terabai. They can come and take essential needs at our station. I'm also proud that we are piloting with Clean how to provide technology around bottle recyclings. Watch out, this is coming your way. Throughout all this effort, one thing remains. It is we share a common purpose kerana kita sebahagian daripada masyarakat dan masyarakat sememangnya ingin bersama syarikat yang sehaluan dengan mereka. This is merely a story of strong purpose that influenced me and my teams on how we go about in this new transition. We help each other. We help each other to understand our purpose and the future of our business. In not too far distant in the future, customers will come to our station not just to ask for fuel, but to charge up their vehicles, and we must be ready for these changes to accommodate that. And TNB is also right smack in the middle of it. Changes, as what the pandemic has shown, does not come very often. And I would like to take this opportunity to again thank all of you who had to continue powering the country when the pandemic brought down our beloved country down to our knees. Itu adalah peringatan betapa kecilnya kita. Just like many of you who still needed to turn up for work to ensure we can continue fueling our frontliners at the time of their most dire need, be it at the TNB power station or at our airports for our important cargo flights to come in, our terminals which are needed to run and supply fuels for our retail station, and everyone need to recharge for their next 12-hour shift. Terima kasih, kita bersama-sama dengan negara kita. Circling back to the topic of my speech today, I believe my purpose as a leader in this organization is no different than all of you. I simply allow, even encourage my team to reshape their purpose as the situation calls for it. I'm truly humbled by the support given to my IG persona Pakcik Shell, which I started just before the pandemic. It was merely actually to showcase and acknowledge the efforts of other people in my team. All of them have worked hard for us in Malaysia. I just want their stories to be told so that they are recognized. As leaders in your own capacity, you should be really proud of what you have done in TNB. I would like to encourage all leaders who are here with us today. Do your bit to encourage and support your team as they have been really marvelous in the most difficult of time. You and I, TNB and Shell, we are together in this, in our energy transition. I want to encourage all of us to strive forward towards a common purpose that has been agreed by organizations, governments and countries alike. Malaysia, our beloved country, has all the necessary skills and potential in being able to achieve this together with all of you. We are fellow Malaysians. Kita adalah warga Malaysia. Terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir hari ini. Thank you very much for being with me and inviting me to be part of Iclad 2021. May Allah bless all your good work at TNB. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Encik Shairan, for this wonderful presentation. All right, you did make it very nice, simple, and sweet for us. All right, we have got a little bit of the inside of Shell. I'm sure the delegates are very much happy to hear all these things that you have shared with us. All right, so before we go to our question and answer, you can write into the pigeonhole. All right, there's a pigeonhole down there. Please write in your question to Ms. To Encik Shairan, and you have any relating question to Shell, you can ask, all right, pertaining to Shell, you can ask over it, you can put it in a pigeonhole so that I can read it out and we can have a continuous feedback session from our Encik Shairan, all right. So talking about Encik Shairan, he has a nickname, dia ada nama glamour, all right. They used to call it a Pakcik Shell. Alright, that is Shairan is his real name, alright, and people used to call him Pakcik Shell. Very well known among the community as Pakcik Shell, alright. So just to share about him, he has actually over 20 years, he have been going through many countries, he has served in many countries, particularly this place called India, alright. I was reading his articles, alright. He mentioned that he have opened up or managed about 30 Shell stations, alright. So in India, the struggle is real, alright. The struggle is real. The competition is there. But however, this man over here today, he has did the breakthrough there through Shell. So I'm sure that he went through a lot of experience, how he came up, his process, his way, his strategy, alright. So yeah, please continue to share with us your questions. I'm sure he's willingly to answer all your questions today. Right, so let's kickstart the first question. Let me throw this question to you, Pakcik Shell. All right, core value. All right, when I say core value, I'm sure Shell do have their own core value. All right. So with this core value that is already embarked in Shell, how they perform, how they practice it, especially coming out of the pandemic, right? During these past 2 years, we were struggling. A lot of companies were struggling. But how this core value, which is being in Shell, has been practiced and by the people in Shell itself, all right? How they practice it? Can you share with us your insight on these core values, Ajit? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning. Nice to meet you virtually. And selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, assalamualaikum to all warga TNB. Mark pagi-pagi dia tertanya soalan yang susah, what is core value? And saya akan kupas sedikit. But I just want to say this to all warga TNB who are with us today. You guys are doing wonderful work for our nation, Malaysia. And people, unfortunately, take you and your good work for granted. And I just want to put it out there that saya sebagai rakyat Malaysia sangat menghargai setiap usaha warga TNB setiap hari. Bagi saya, anda mungkin boleh dimasukkan dalam kategori heroes yang tidak didendang. Apa maksud saya? When I was working in different countries, and I work in developed countries in Eropah, and I've also worked in developing countries, right? And I remember when I was living in a different country with my family, dengan anak saya yang kecil masa tu, masa tengah makan tiba-tiba blackout, right? Kena pergi keluar, start generator untuk sambung buat kerja kehidupan seharian. We in Malaysia have taken this power security, continuous availability, petik butang je semua jalan for granted. And I want to say and recognize what you guys do every day. Yeah, keep doing it because you guys are very important for Malaysia as a nation and for us individuals like me. Yeah. So, apa soalan tadi, Mark? What is Shell's core values? Right?
Yeah, most important values for practice.
Yeah, Mark tadi cakap saya dah kerja dengan Shell lama. It's only the only company that I've worked for since I returned from United Kingdom after I finished my study, and I stayed on to work with KPMG for several years so that I can qualify, and then eventually I returned to Malaysia. And the first company that I worked for is Shell. Mungkin sebab tak laku kot, and I ended up working for the company for a long time. And I think next year I'll approach 30 years. Originally, when I returned to Malaysia, Mark, I was thinking, oh, maybe, masa tu muda kan, kerja 2-3 tahun and then move on to other companies. But I actually ended up working for the same company for, maybe very long. And it's not a perfect company. It has many faults. We need to improve on many things, and maybe we'll touch on that, some of those things today. But what resonates and keeps my heart calm is our core values. And our core values are very simple: honesty, integrity, and respect for people. And it has carried me through this period where the pandemic or business challenges, oil price crash, all sorts of black swan events. Having core values is important because it keeps you grounded, right? Sebagai contoh, obviously we need to be profitable, otherwise you can't continue as a commercial entity. Pada bulan Ramadan, masa pandemic, we actually open up our stations, as I mentioned in my discussion earlier, to all walks of Malaysians, supaya mereka boleh menyambung kesinambungan hidup. And we continue to do that in our product selection. We have just completed a program we call Realize Your Dreams with Shell, right? Realisasi impian bersama Shell. And we selected 29 small micro industry, basically small entrepreneurs who we are working with to expand their product, untuk menjenamakan produk mereka ke dalam kedai select kita. Ada yang buat jus buah-buahan, ada yang buat puding, ada yang buat burger, ada yang buat murtabak, ada yang buat keripik, keropok. I'm so enthusiastic when I meet them. Sebab saya dulu kalau boleh nak jadi entrepreneur, tapi tak ada modal, takut, ya. Sekarang dah terlalu tua untuk membuat entrepreneurship, but at least I'm delighted that I can actually be part of their growth. Respect for people, which is one of the three core values that we have, we also means that we are fully diverse and inclusive. Maksud saya, Mak, kami beroperasi di 90 negara, right? So we need to be diverse because we have tenaga kerja daripada berbagai-bagai latar belakang. Latar belakang agama yang berbeza, latar belakang kenegaraan yang berbeza, masyarakat yang berbeza. And therefore, Mark, we've learned to be inclusive and we seek to understand one another. I give you one simple example, and this is me as a Malaysian being asked to lead a team, and it's a really major privilege to lead a team that did wonderful things in India. I was also entrusted to run our operations in Italy, Slovenia, and Turkey. Itu menunjukkan tidak ada rasa kesangsian ke atas perbezaan. So we have to be inclusive. I just close with one example, Mark. I was actually pleasantly surprised in my younger days when I went to our HQ in London, in York Road. On 4th floor, there is actually a surau where people of the Muslim faith can congregate during lunchtime for afternoon prayer and on Fridays for Friday prayer. And on the same 4th floor, there's also a place for the Buddhist faith to have a quiet time, and people of the Christian faith to hold their Bible class, right? So that's what our core values means to us, and I'm sure in TNB you also have your equally strong core values. So over back to you, Mark. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it certainly does. Thank you, Pak Shell, for sharing that insight of yours for the first question. Let's move on to the next one. This is quite interesting as well. Also, touching on the basis of values, what values are most important to you as leader? What values are most important to you as a leader, Pak Cik?
Okay, so it's very hard to answer that because if I pick one, it doesn't mean that I am negating another, right? I start the opposite side. The danger of a leader, because you are surrounded by people who will influence your opinion, what you see. Reality is, kita melihat dunia dan kita melalui pengalaman, melalui kacamata, right? So we process experience and information based on inherent biases, and most of these biases are subconscious. I really force myself to listen and invite views that are contrary to mine, and that's very hard because as human being, kita lebih suka duduk bersekumpulan dengan rakan-rakan yang sehaluan dengan kita. Bahayanya, Mak, kita akan dengar apa yang kita nak dengar. So one of the things that I've learned and I'm relearning and continuing to learn is, if you want to make really difficult decisions, invite people who have different views, supaya kita dengar berbagai pandangan, and that would help the leader from making big mistakes. And in my 30 years of working, I've made many big mistakes. And of course, I hope to learn from those. Yeah. And maybe I'll just share one mistake, which is not I'm very proud of, but I'm sharing in the context of semoga dengan perkongsian ini anda tidak membuat mistake yang sama. And this is the cheapest way to learn, right? Sort of early part of my working experience, but I look up to my supervisor at that time, and it was many, many years ago, right? And I wanted so much to be like him. So I ended up actually emulating his personality. Dia bercakap dengan cara yang garang, kalau meeting hentak meja, and I'm not saying those are good, and I'm not speaking badly about him or her, right? But what I'm saying, I made a mistake of actually wanting to be like someone who I admired, but it wasn't me. So I was drifting away, ya, saya teralih arah untuk menjadi seseorang yang sebenarnya bukan saya. And my team didn't like it, but they didn't say it because they were scared, right? Until it blew back on me and I was doing very badly because a leader can't achieve anything. Ketua department tak boleh nak pergi baiki pencawang, right? There's nothing that you can do as a team leader. You depend on your team to perform. And your team need to be motivated, and I wasn't performing well, right? And I didn't achieve much, and I suffered in my career. But Tuhan pemurah, as long as you can actually take a step back and reflect on your failure, and then I had an epiphany, ya, mendapat ilham apa kesalahan saya dan saya perbetulkan. And now I feel much more calm, tidaklah mengejar kerja yang seterusnya, and I actually try really hard to encourage everyone in my team to discover their purpose. And when you discover your purpose at work, you are differently motivated. Ya, saya bagi tadi contoh macam mana kumpulan kami cuba melakukan kebaikan kepada masyarakat semasa pandemik. Yeah, the team also came up with a few other brilliant things. Sekolah baru buka sekarang kan, and ramai di antara anda terpaksa hantar anak ke sekolah yang sebelum ni belajar melalui PDPR. And semasa belajar PDPR, actually my team member in Sabah and Sarawak texted me and said, "Sharon, kami di Sabah dan Sarawak tak semestinya dapat wifi yang bagus. So anak kami susah nak ikut pembelajaran PDPR." So you know, Mark, what they did? And this wasn't my idea. I wish it was my idea, but it was my team's idea. They said, "Oh, dekat station kita ada VSAT, which is the satellite dish kan, that connect our IT system to our HQ. So we said they wanted to actually create a free Wi-Fi zone with desks and chairs in a safe manner, together with printer for school student who does not have laptop at home, apatah lagi Wi-Fi, untuk mereka datang ke stesen kami di Tawau, di Lahad Datu, right? Untuk anak-anak daripada kawasan pedalaman ini duduk dan buat kerja sekolah mereka. I thought that was amazing. My team rediscovered our purpose in our life. Bukan menjual minyak, malah memberi kesenangan kepada masyarakat. And that's what you guys do every day in TNB. I want you to remember that your purpose at TNB, right, is not so obvious to many people. And you should be really proud that you are powering Malaysians every single day. Without you, the hospital cannot run. The doctors cannot run their operating theatre, right? The airplanes cannot fly because the aircraft controller won't be able to function. So I don't know how many of you are in this room together with me, but you should feel really good. My encouragement to team leaders who are with us, right? Help your team discover what is their true purpose at their workplace.
Thank you, Sharon, for reminding us that point, right? Right, let's move on to the next question. With the energy transition from coal to RE, all right, how shall position itself in this landscape? With the energy transition coming on from coal, oil to RE, renewable energy, how shall position itself in this landscape?
So it's not about a matter of positioning, MJ. It is about accepting the reality, right? We, humanity, not just Malaysians, kita semua, umat manusia, we're actually sharing one home, and this home is called the Earth. And we have no other alternative home to go to, right? And this is what something that didn't dawn on me until quite recently, and I should have realized this many years ago. I actually went to visit my daughter in Melbourne University when she was in her final year, and she actually asked me, because young people are more aware of these things, right? And she asked me, "Daddy, why are you still working for Shell?" And I know from the tone of the conversation, the question, there is a deeper question, right? And I said, I embrace the challenges that the energy industry face, right? I can stop working for the company, but the problem doesn't go away. The problem of humanity, right? And the energy that Shell produce for the world only account for 5% or less. I say only doesn't mean that it's small, right? But it just to give a context of the total CO2 that the world produces. But rather than running away from the challenge, I say I want to be a part of the solution. Even if I can't solve the world's problem, your CEO and your board of directors for making this transition together with us, together with Shell. So right now, we are continuing. I have more than a few teams, right? Continuing our transition. So one of which is to put solar panels on our station. I think it's almost magical when you go to a Shell station, the air condition, the fuel dispenser, the ice cream chiller is actually powered by the sun. I'm actually still amazed how human capability can do this. And I know Tenaga has a really nice and progressive mix of energy in your energy generation, in your electricity generation, and progressively both Shell and Tenaga, we will do more and more of sustainable and renewable energy sources. We in Shell have made a public commitment by the year 2050, we will get to net zero. And that is not easy, but we are determined to get there. And we are making all the necessary investment, and we are taking all the actions now so that by the year 2030, we will get to halfway where we reduce our carbon footprint by 50%. And that's not going to be easy, for sure, but we are already taking the actions. Yeah, part of which is to offer solutions to our customers, because it's not just about our own operations, which I mentioned. We will reduce our carbon footprint by changing how we power our own operations, such as the solar at our Shell stations in Malaysia. Here in Malaysia, not outside. Plus, we're going to be offering, and we have made this announcement, is people are working on it, to offer EV charging. Right now, I am really delighted to share with you that we offer EV charging, Mark, not at Shell stations only, right? But actually at shopping centers and at hotels, because that's how charging works. People don't necessarily go to a station to charge, but they want to charge while they are shopping or while they're doing other businesses. Right? And coming soon, as previously announced, we're going to install and make available to the public a high performance charger. Not the small charger yang macam kita charge our phone, right? With this small cable, but we'll be offering soon to Malaysians. And I'm really looking forward to revealing it to you, but you are one of the first to know. We will be commissioning an 180 kilowatt charger. That will be super fast. Yeah, that is going in step with the society and what the Malaysian government is doing. Yeah? Just to round it off, mobility is not just only by car. I also embrace public transport, and many of you who work at Tenaga, I encourage you to take public transport because that is the most energy efficient way to travel. And we are providing solutions for our shipping customers, right? How to power their vessel, and we've just made this available in Singapore, where we provided LNG bunkering so that ships can run on clean LNG or at least cleaner energy. We are able now to offer SAF, which is Sustainable Aviation Fuel, so that when you fly on holiday or a business trip, that the jet fuel that is flying your aircraft is actually 100% green. Yeah, I'm amazed at the capability of human ingenuity in coming up with solution. We just have to persevere and really take this seriously. And both Tenaga and Shell are taking it seriously. I hope that give you a flavor of everything that not just Shell, but Tenaga, every private individuals have to take, because we need to make this change.
Thank you, Pachi, for that answer, right? So just now we was very curious where did the question went on. Now we have a set of questions, Pachi, in front of me. So next one, Pachi, let's move on. Right?
Bagi soalan yang
so many
senang sikit.
things. Senang sikit, alright. I think this is long, tapi it's still senang lah, Pachi. Let's read. I read this for you because it has the most number of votes. I'm sure many of them wants to know the answer as well. Pachi, it's a long one. Let's go through. One of the difficulties in the new norm situation for the leaders is directing virtually, especially for the engineering department. It is very difficult to do because you are operation based, right? So how do you handle it? How do you handle it?
Saya faham sangat soalan tu. Mulai 1 hari bulan 8, tugas saya dah berkembang. Tim saya termasuklah sekarang daripada Philippines. I have to look after Philippines. I have to look after Thailand, Indonesia, India, Oman, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates. Oh, subhanallah. MJ, can you imagine? Right. Since then, I've not met physically my team members outside Malaysia. I staff. I have 46 terminal, kilometers of pipeline, 1,000 trucks. So I feel you, whoever asked that question. It's really tough to form a relationship and build trust when you haven't met the person. Right? So I haven't found the answer, but I'm really trying. So with my Philippines team, I understand they have particular style. They like fun quizzes and interaction. So I empower them. So they created this small session. They call it Kamastahan. Basically, every other Friday, they lock out 3 hours to have not work related activities. It's slightly work related lah, yeah. But it's really fun, and my Filipino teams are so fun. And then they share about their families, their challenges, and their joys, right? In Malaysia, I have an opportunity to go and visit all the terminals. And when I go and visit, I don't make it a big hoo-ha, kena siap penyambut tetamu dengan kompang, dengan bunga mangga, tak payahlah, right? You just go, order KFC and have a chit chat and have lunch, of course, in a safe distance manner. In Pakistan and UAE, it may be different. So I don't have a perfect answer. I'm also discovering, and sometimes I make mistakes. My clue to you guys is trust your team. Ask them what works for them, and then you play to their tune. Yeah? Trust is something that need to be carefully valued because it takes a while to build that trust, but you can destroy it just like that. Yeah. And as a leader, it's your obligation, not their responsibility. Yeah. So itulah pengalaman saya how to build that relationship in a virtual world. And if I may ask, respect that people are working from home, tak semestinya mereka dalam keadaan yang tenang untuk switch on video. Ada masa kalau mak-mak kena layan anak buat PDPR punya homework, ada masa kena pergi masak sekejap, right? So be careful. Even though it's during working hours, when you're working from home, recognize that your team members have to juggle with their personal responsibility. Tak ada jawapan yang tepat, cuma berkongsi pengalaman dan cabaran yang sama. Saya pun mengharungi keadaan yang sama.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Pachi. I'm sure we are sailing this together. So we will learn a lot of things moving to the new norm, right? Working. Thank you, Pachi, for sharing that insight. All right, I just got my cue from my team. We have 10 more minutes, all right? So let's move on quickly to the next question. What is the greatest collaboration between Shell and TMB you see works or should have worked to foster the world? What's the greatest collaboration between Shell and TMB? Wow. This question was asked by an IT guy. That is the name.
By an IT guy. Okay. It doesn't matter who asked, right? Yeah. But I share with you, it's a real privilege to have worked with the TNB team. We have been trying to figure it out for a number of years. But I was so proud when the team of both sides were able to conclude a deal to supply for us to be the first company to supply TNB with a private cargo of LNG. And you guys got it at such a beautiful price. Yeah? Commercially, it worked for us. And most importantly, we tested the system and we challenged the norm. That's what I like. We challenged the norm because to make advancement, you have to take risks. And both teams in TNB and Shell took risks for us to make that special cargo happen. My team, and we haven't imported a LNG cargo in before, right? We also required support from the gas infrastructure company, and I'm so thankful to them for being open-minded. I'm so thankful to the Ministry of Energy for allowing the industry player to make it happen. Coming back to energy transition, which is the theme for this conference, right? We don't have all the solutions. We don't know as humanity how to get to net zero, but we must try. And therefore, we must try. And it will be multiple solutions. I mentioned solar. We have Malaysia blessed with pengaliran air, hydro as a means of generation. we may have to discover other sources of energy as well, right? So I look forward to other potential collaboration. Kalau diizinkan, if the PA to the CEO is on this call, I would love to meet you, Dato. Yeah, for us to explore, yeah, other opportunities that how Shell and TNB can work together for the betterment of Malaysia and to help humanity progress to energy transition.
Thank you, Pachi. Thank you, Pachi, for that that question. All right. Can we go one more? One more? Yes, we can go one more question. All right, Pachi. Let's do
Okay.
this. All right.
Empat
From
lagi
your
ni.
experience, yes, Pachi.
Yeah.
From your experience, how about the cultural effect in the international organization in order to achieve the company goals based on the leadership style? Let me read it again. From your experience, how about the cultural effect in the international organization in order to achieve company goals based on the leadership style?
Mhm. So I kind of alluded to it in the first question on the core values. And amongst our principles is one principle that is very important to me is diversity and inclusiveness, right? I start with my own experience when I was in running our operations in Italy, and I spent like 2 days a week in Milan, and the rest of the weeks I spent in Istanbul. And Milan is not like Malaysia, right? No one in Milan look like me. They are all also the fashion industry. The Milan office it look so beautiful, both men and ladies. But they respect me for who I am. They don't ask me to change, right? When I need to go and perform my solah, I will go to a meeting room and I will perform my prayer. And similarly, I should respect their cultural and their norms. If they want to eat or if they want to drink, that's their right. So I think as a DNA of our company, that's something that is really helpful, right? Where we truly respect each other. And it also carried through in our work. Diversity and inclusiveness is not hanyalah kepelbagaian, 50% lelaki, 50% perempuan, 60% pemain putra, 40% nama. No, it also carries through in our work. Diversity and inclusiveness means that in a meeting, everyone has the right to speak up. We are actually encouraged setiap team members, tak kira junior ataupun senior, to speak up. And what I learned is also the leaders, you speak last. Because the moment you speak first, the others may be influenced by your view and you stop hearing apa yang anda perlu dengar. So saya tengah praktis yang tu, walaupun ada opinion simpan dulu, panggil dan ajak yang kurang bercakap untuk memberi pendapat mereka. So you go around and then you have an holistic view and I benefit from that. And similarly, everyone then get an opportunity to shape decisions that we make. Okay, sempat lagi satu question?
Yes, Pachi, that's what I'm receiving the note from my team here. All right, the votes suddenly jump for this question. All right, salam Pachi Shell. All right,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Happy to see you virtually, and I hope I can meet you physically later. I have one question. What is your advice for the younger generation who will be leader in the future? Wow.
Wow.
This answer.
I have not in a position to give advice, because an advice normally comes from somebody who's better, who can give wisdom to people who are younger. What I try to do is share my mistakes. I shared just now with you, right? As a closing, what I want to share with you is a sense of hope, right? Just reflect on my daughter's question. Daddy, why are you still working at Shell? Right? At my age, I still try to make a difference. Right? no matter how small. And for you, the younger generations, it's actually the opportunity is tremendous for you, right? For you in Tenaga to build a completely different way to generate sustainable energy. And the solution may not even be here right now, but you have tremendous capability. When I first joined Shell 30 years ago, I only sold kerosene, diesel, RON 92 and RON 95. And right now, we are moving away progressively to EV charging. I am actually a trained barista because we know that that's what our consumers need, right? And we make that available to you because we feel Malaysians deserve all these solutions that is sustainable. So my advice, no, bukan advice. Harapan saya kepada barisan sekarang, right? Don't be scared. You are Malaysians. You are capable of achieving so much that we as the current generation will look forward and applaud you and be so proud of what you are going to achieve in Tenaga or in the energy industry. Don't limit yourself to a company. Don't limit yourself to Malaysia. We are Malaysians. We are no less capable than anyone else in the world.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pachi. There's fantastic note from you. All right. Pachi, they are squeezing me with one more question, and I tell you what,
Dah lebih kuota ni.
let's wrap up this section with this question. All right, and also a final keynote from you before we move forward to the next one. All right. So the question is, what is the most challenging part in your experience as a leader in Shell? What is the most challenging part in your experience as a leader in Shell? Yeah.
Right.
Followed by your conclusion note.
Yeah, I'll answer that very quickly. Whenever I face a setback, and I face many, right? I always felt at that time it was the end of the world. For example, when I wanted to open my stations, I couldn't get a permit, right? Or when the station was ready, someone sent a caterpillar digger to dig a trench and I couldn't open. Whatever it was, including the pandemic recently, right? It was like the hardest thing. And yet, several months down the road or several years down the road, it doesn't seem to be that big a challenge. So my reflection is we are endowed, it's a gift from God that when you build resilience, and as a leader, you need to build resilience firstly for yourself and then later for your own team, right? So when you build your resilience, you become stronger. When you become stronger, you can actually overcome a bigger challenge. I think it's so important in the world that we live in right now with so much uncertainty, right? Whether pandemic, whether energy, whether oil prices, whether whatever, right? The world has become so volatile, you need to build that resilience. And that will enable you to learn, and learning and relearning and changing your belief based on what you had learned in the past, right? Is so important. And as a leader, kita kena ada minda yang terbuka, dengar pendapat dan maklum balas daripada frontliners, create a safe environment for them to speak up, right? Otherwise, as a leader, you're going to hear echoes of your own chamber, right? And that's not very helpful. Yeah? So I have made so many mistakes, but from each mistake, as long as you learn, you become stronger. And just reflect, MJ, if you as a leader make mistakes, right? Your team members, your frontliners will make mistakes too. So don't scold them as long as it's not done deliberately, right? As long as they learn and the rest of your team members learn, or TNB will be so much stronger. In fact, the more mistakes you make, actually, you become stronger. So create a culture of learning, right? Create a safe environment where people can speak up. Ya, sebab saya mendapat manfaat yang sangat banyak daripada nasihat dan saranan rakan-rakan kerja saya, termasuklah my own team members. In closing, if I may, kalau tak dia tanya soalan lagi satu tu, ya, I just wanted to say that I, satu daripada 30 juta rakyat Malaysia, sangat menghargai apa yang anda lakukan sebagai warga TNB setiap hari. Walaupun tak ada orang tulis surat cakap thank you. Ya, tapi saya bangun pagi, petik, ambil wuduk, boleh pergi solat because of you. Right? Mothers can cook because of you. Doctors can run their operating theatre because of you. So be proud of what you do. Right? Semoga Tuhan merahmati. May God bless every work that you do because you do it for the goodness of us Malaysia and our country Malaysia. Terima kasih kerana menjemput saya, dan kalau terjumpa saya dekat stesen Shell ke kat mana-mana tu, ya, dan please to go. I would love to meet you in person. In the meantime, I wish all of you the very best in your conference. You are in your second day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and then tomorrow is another big day for you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, and thank you again for inviting me. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Most welcome, Pakcik, for your time. All right. It's certainly a pleasure to have you with us throughout this 1 hour section. Wow, 1 hour just went through so fast. We are looking forward to our next meet. All right. So, dear delegates, all right, thank you so much for being with us, for hearing and providing us all the questions. Although all the questions are not being captured, I'm sure that the input that we received from Pakcik a while ago will help you, right? So, for those who missed the section, you can have the recorded part from our Iclad 2021 gallery, all right? For those who have missed, dear delegates, is a keynote for you who missed this section. We have recorded this section and we will put it into the Iclad 2021 gallery, right? So we are looking forward to having you in our next section. So please stay tuned. I'm sure that this Iclad 2021 will give you a lot of information that can help you to move forward into 2022, right? So with that, once again, Pakcik, thank you for being with us. It was so privileged to have you, all right, and thank you for dear delegates for spending your time today's morning section. So this evening, we will start at 2 p.m. All right, dear delegates, is a note for you. We will start the section at 2 p.m. So don't miss out. Please share the information to all the other delegates as well. And see you all in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.